niet en donder, as the defense minister said earlier on, that for now, we are still a constitutional democracy. We are under a state of national disaster, so they will not contravene the constitution. Samkele Maseko is there. He's tracking the story for us there at Doornkop Army Base in Johannesburg. So what else was said during that mini press briefing, Samkele?
The president is essentially saying that the mission of the soldiers and the army is to go out and save the lives of South Africans, with the army and the South African police service and the government fighting an invincible virus which is ravaging South Africans and the globe as a whole. The president is saying that South Africa is not the only country to take this route of using the soldiers and the army to try and combating the spread of this COVID-19 virus, saying that they need to save the lives of South Africans. Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, the Minister of the Minister of Defence and Military Veterans, going as far as to saying that Sandton and Bedfordview are one of the hot epicenters of this particular pandemic in the country, and in particular in Gauteng, saying that they are now worried that if Sandton is the epicenter of this virus, it may spread to the people of Alexandra. President Ramaphosa going on to saying that this is not the time of scop and donor for the armed forces, and that South Africans are receptive, and there will be those who will try and challenge the might of the army and the might of the state and the might of the president. The president saying that eventually, after various negotiations with those who may try to challenge the might of the state and the might of the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, which is the president, the police, will nudge them in the right direction. Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, the minister, saying that the armed forces and the soldiers must exercise maximum restraint when it comes to the amount of force that they use, that they must be patient until they try and nudge those who may be restricting the enforcement of the armed forces on their side.
Pains to be very clear about what is happening now. She said we have not seen the deployment of the army just yet. I suppose that happens at midnight tonight. But she also emphasized that the SAPS will be playing a leading role and the army a supporting role, correct?
Yes, indeed. The president and the minister are very clear that the army is going to be playing a supporting role to the African police service, whom the president went to speak to earlier on with the Minister of Police, Begitsele, in Pretoria, to try and urge them to say that they must go out and save the lives of South Africans. The soldiers will essentially be supporting the work of the police force across the country. So the main troops on the ground is going to be the SAPS, but obviously the armed forces will also be there, as in the South African army led by their commander-in-chief, whom has said that he is sending them out now to try and go out and save the lives of South Africans.
All right, so what do we know about what's about to proceed now, Samkele? You're in Doornkop at the moment, and we also know, just in terms of the people that are there, is it a full battalion? Are there sub-units? Where they're going to go, etc.?
Well, Tapiso, what we do know is that the armed forces now are going to their various points of deployment, as led by their commander-in-chief, who's sent them out to go to South Africans. They are leaving the Doornkop base. They are going to their respective places of deployment, as designated that they have to start with their deployments as of midnight today, when the lockdown of South Africa starts, which has been ordered in this national case of disaster by President Cyril Ramaphosa. So they're going to various points of deployment from this base. Others are leaving from other bases where they are based, and there will be others who will be stationed in those various bases in case reinforcements are needed in certain areas and parts of the country, with the SAPS being deployed into other areas as well. But from here, they are going to their respective points of deployment across the country. This is the first of its kind in a democratic South Africa, where the armed forces, the SANDF, is deployed internally in the country to try and deal with the disaster that is ravaging across the country, with President Cyril Ramaphosa saying that this particular pandemic within the next days to come could reach numbers of 1,500 people being infected and affected by this particular pandemic. As it stands, you've got 927 South Africans being infected and affected by this particular pandemic. But the armed forces, after being addressed by the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Cyril Ramaphosa, are going to their respective points of deployment now, and their deployments effectively kickstart at midnight tonight when the lockdown is particularly affected and comes into law as gazetted by the South African government.
Samkele, I wonder if you had a chance to speak to any members of the SANDF, again, just in terms of the context. It is, as you say, a state of a national disaster, which is very different from Section 37 of the Constitution, which is a state of emergency. That difference, very important. How do they process it in terms of when they're going out there to do their work?
Well, so they are saying that they've been given clear instructions by the minister and by their commander-in-chief of the work that they are sent out to do, that they're not going into a hostile environment. They are going into an environment where they're going to protect South Africans when it comes to this particular scourge and pandemic that is ravaging people across the globe. They are saying that they are looking forward to helping South Africans, and they look forward to being received warmly by many South Africans on the ground, saying that they know that they may be going into areas where people may be scared of the various weapons or machine guns that they may be carrying, but they are calling on South Africans not to be scared. They are not there to attack them or to scope and plunder them, but they are there to protect their livelihoods, and they are there to protect their interests so that they are not infected and affected by this particular pandemic, so that they can, and all South Africa, and they, as deployed by the army and they members of the African Defence Force and the SAPS, can go back to their ordinary lives as well, and that the ordinary civilians in the country can go back to their normal livelihood and not be locked in their homes in this current lockdown, is to try and prevent the spreading of this COVID-19 virus. But at this point in time, they are saying that they've got their own fears, but they are also looking forward to this particular mission that they've been given by the Commander-in-Chief. You saw them singing and being joyful once the Commander-in-Chief was done with addressing them and giving them a command to go and save the lives of South Africans and to exercise maximum restraint on when it comes to dealing with those who may be restricting and not allowing themselves to be put into order.
Thanks a lot, Samkele Maseko, our reporter, speaking to us there at Doornkop military base in Diepkloof, where the Commander-in-Chief, President Cyril Ramaphosa, spoke to them earlier on, saying that this is a mercy mission, this is a life restoration mission, which they will begin at exactly midnight tonight. So the free